How's it, guys? And welcome back to TPE. A lady in our community called Cynthia posted some images, and they had this wonderful sort of blurry motion sort of vibe going on with them. And she'd said, "Oh, I took them on my phone." She was like, "Oh, well, it's an app. It's an app called Reheld." The next day, I was at a local arboretum. I'm going to try out this app. And the first kind of pictures, not so cool. I think to figure out what's been going on here, it's time we'll have a look at some of these results. Now, the first one that I have here, so this is kind of quite literally the first picture you do. So with this app, you just tell it how long you want the exposure to be, and it takes a photograph. So 2 seconds, 3 seconds. I think you can go up to like 30 or 40 seconds. There's a long time that you can have with all this. And I was looking and go, okay, well, that's kind of interesting, but it's not really doing anything for me. And I thought, okay, well, let's try something a bit different. Let's look here. So this tree is moving in the wind. And one of the things that Reheld say that we do is that it will mimic the ability to hold your camera still like you would have a tripod on it. So I thought, I want to give this a whirl. What was happening? Now here, I can sort of see after a bit of experimenting with the length of time, with the shutter speeds and what have you, and this is a key aspect, is experimenting, testing out all the things rather than just taking a couple of pictures and going, that sucks, right? And just delete the app. So I can see there's a bit of motion blur coming through here with these bits, and in the roof here, not the roof, the top of the tree, and the background's kind of okay. There's some so I think that's working out quite nicely. But of course, I'm sort of overlooking the fact that right now, everything in that frame is somewhat moving. And I tried out a couple of other things. I tried to be a little bit more deliberate about the shutter speed, about, using it like I would if I having a longer shutter speed. So here's a tree that we can sort of see goes up and down. Now this is starting to get a bit more into what I'm sort of thinking I quite like with the app. And so what I was doing here is that I stood underneath the tree and I actually turned the camera in a circle. So you can sort of see there is a vortex kind of arrangement going on there. I like that, but I hadn't really unlocked any of its actual potential yet. So I went down to London. I was with, actually doing a photo walk. If you're interested, there is another photo walk coming up. Well, there's two actually. One in Boston and one in Vienna. So Boston is the end of May and Vienna is the end of March. There's some info in the description box below. So one of the images that I'd seen of Cynthia's reminded me of Alexei Titarenko. So he does these fantastic long exposure images in the city. They're just marvelous. And I've always been a big believer, if you've seen something, give it a whirl. Use that as a starting point to help, standing on the shoulders of giants, as they say. Because I like to get in everybody's way, I stood at the top of the stairs and I thought, what I need here, like in Alexei's images, we need something to be static in the middle of the frame. And then all of the images, also all of the people, to do the blur. Because that way you're getting a bit of juxtaposition. The Reheld app is coming into its own. It's starting to make more sense to me. What's going on is that the app's obviously using AI and it's kind of, stacking with speech. So it's taking a whole bunch of images and it's stacking them and then deciding which bits should be static. I'm sort of seeing, like here, because of course this is all, generated imagery, which I have no problem with. Just like film and shutter speeds and all that kind of stuff. It's a tool that we'll employ. And down the corner, you can see with the posters, boom, 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 boom. if that was a truly long exposure, they would just be a blur. There would be a smear of color down the wall. But they have this kind of choppy sort of idea to them, which I quite like, actually. The thing that is moving, this silver stuff, because it's a big, open, flat space, that gives that impression of like it's a solid object, like it's not moving. If we really lean in and juxtapose static and motion, this is a staircase, was an escalator, sorry, rather, in the Tate Modern. And it's great. All the elements are there. This, there's lines, you've got some, the motion and what have you. But it's missing something. It's missing something up here. Your eyes are being drawn all the way up here. And right now there's a bunch of people, like me, just wearing black. Boo. Because we don't want them. We want people with a splash of color. Now there's a splash of color in there and stuff like that. None of this would have happened if I just kind of gone off the first experiments and gone, yeah, this isn't really working. Because you have to work at these things, all these apps and stuff like that. Reheld is a tool. Okay, it can't just make an amazing photograph for you. Right, which is going to look like, you have to work with it. With anything, your lenses, your cameras, everything. You can't just expect it to conjure something out of nothing. And on the way down from that very same escalator that I was going up, whoops, this thing on the floor. Right, got it. You got that escalator going down, and you got these. Oh, this is the wrong brush now as well. So you've got this escalator that's going down, which could use the funky brush for now. Look at that. This is probably my favorite picture that I've taken with the Reheld app. It's got this kind of weird, I'm not quite sure what's going on from a technical point of view, because you look at the roof and the people are static. They haven't really moved. Also, they aren't competing with the green of that ceiling part. And it's just, I love it. It's got a very abstract kind of feel to it. Later on, I kind of started getting like sort of really going out and pushing the boundaries of, I say pushing the boundaries, pushing what I thought, would be sort of the boundaries of things. I thought, if I walk along and have a long-ish shutter speed, then I want to see what the app does. And this is like my second favorite picture. So what I'm doing here, I've got the app, got it in front of me, I'm holding it, and I'm walking. I'm walking at the same pace as these people. And I think the shutter speed's like 4, maybe 5 seconds. So on the edges here, you can see there's these, these weird sort of lines where it's taking all these pictures and it's trying to overlay them to make something static. But of course, there's nothing static in the image. End up with a sort of odd Turner-esque vibe with the images. It's got this kind of, the splashes of yellow, the rest is kind of white. The figures are all this time wearing black, because that's now a good thing, right? So there's nothing really sort of competing with anything in there. So I'm not just kind of aimlessly pointing at things. I'm thinking about the lines that are in there. This is a big tunnel that we're walking through. So it's kind of photography 101, leading lines. But that's okay, because we need to give it a foundation. This is the tunnel they're walking through. But it goes to show that if you have an app or something like that, a piece of tool, piece of equipment, what have you, you play with it, give it time, try things out, read out how it works and stuff like that. But then look at what's in there. What are the things that initially you sort of go, oh, I wish I wouldn't do that. But then you realize later on, like all the lines and things, the jiggery lines where it's trying to, the jitter, I really didn't like that when I first saw it. But then actually go, "Do you know, I really like that. I've taken what could have been a fault and I've made it into a positive." All right, so I mentioned in the video that we're going to have a couple of photo walks in Boston and Vienna. So the one in Vienna is coming up the end of March, and the one in Boston is happening at the end of May. Now, these are going to be nice little intimate days, sort of capped at 15 people each. It's a weekend. We're going to be looking at, resetting our ideas, learning to see creatively, to learn to make the most of the equipment that we have, to see the possibilities, to go through exercises like this, to join me in person, to see how not only the Reheld app works, but also how you can make your own awesome photographs and all that kind of stuff. Then check out, as I said, the link in the description box below. Thank you ever so much for being here. It's an absolute pleasure to see you. And check out this video over here. Cool. Cheerio.